have to wait and see how we come out with Washington. And the last thing, Mayor, you've been asking for marks of the city vehicles, and finally we've got something from the street department. Since it was unfunded, unbudgeted, this is made in-house out of the sign shop. The only thing we bought was, we bought 30 yards of gray. It was the smallest roll we could get, and we got 4 yards of yellow. On the extra expense, plus quite a bit of time learning how to use the software. We're in the process. They're not all done.
Good, good.
It's taken quite a while to learn how to use the equipment to try to save us money.
Good.
That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Carter, for getting that done.
Mr. Carter, could I ask you something? I just noticed, when do you think you'll get that zip tube thing for the street signs? Or is that
It's not authorized. It's not an authorized expenditure.
So,
It's not
is
bad.
that what's holding up the street signs still?
On Washington, yes, not on the rest of the street signs. No.
Oh, just Washington?
The fiber optic down there. The reason we haven't put any street signs up is we've been in construction.
Well, I mean, yeah.
No, I mean, well,
I just-
we've got, I hate to say, I was out there the other day, probably 85% of the rest of the signs made, or something like that. But we we shut down when all the construction started, and we were trying to get all of our work done. But if the weather's coming bad, ran back bad and stuff like that, we'll be out putting up more street signs. Where we've got fiber optic cable, it's an extreme headache. When you've got a very small area and you've got to hand dig all of it to drive a post in there for a sign.
What's the cost of this zip tube?
$1,200 comes to mind, but please don't hold me to that. I wouldn't want, I'm not requesting that be authorized tonight, because I think it might be less than that. That's what's coming to mind. I haven't dealt with that figure since budget time. But all along Washington, the main ones going out on Washington, everywhere they've been putting fiber optic in all around town and everything like that. That's an issue we're going to develop out here. We've got fiber optic. They've taken the center part of all of those areas that are that wide, and that's where they run when they're boring in. They take the center part of the right of way for their fiber optic instead of scooting to the side. Then you're supposed to leave 2 feet space on each side of that for where the utilities are put. So, it's not going to create any problem for us in the signs, but it's going to create a problem for the utility company too when they have to try to do work. We don't really have anything we can say to them about it. We can't use post hole diggers and everything else. We've got to use light shovels and go 3-4 inches at a time.
Could we sell the dump truck and all that stuff and get the money to?
Well, that's one thing we're hoping to talk to the committee about, is trying to have a sale. But it's very time consuming. I mean, it can be done, but you know, if you dig down and you hit the thing here, then you start all over. And, you know, the next hole, trying to put it in an appropriate spot for the stop sign, because there's legalities on where that stop sign is placed too.
All right.
Yeah, I have. Thank you
I
all
didn't know
for
if he's asleep.
excusing my guest here. We're on a holiday schedule at the Combs household. But you all know that the downtown revitalization project came to an end earlier this year with the end of the Neighborhood Assistance Program grant funding. Ms. Sarah Graves is no longer able to be funded a salary as the executive director of the Kennett Community Development Council or Corporation. I just want to let you know that the Kennett Chamber of Commerce has decided to take over the administrative function of the KCDC. So from this point, any downtown questions can be forwarded to myself. I'm working with the Secretary of State on getting the final paperwork changed over at this time. I should be getting the last of my paperwork sent off tomorrow. The paperwork's gone smoothly and they're okay with how it's processing so far. It won't be in full capacity as it was before when we had director specifically dedicated to that project. But I'm gonna do my best to keep it going the best that we can.
Thank you. Is that, see, I'll go ahead and say it. Anyone here tonight wish to speak to council? All right, there's not any. Guess we, anything else?
Mayor, could we
Yes, ma'am.
invite the economic development person from, wherever, from the city to come to one of the meetings sometime?
Oh, well, I've got, glad you said that. They're already one step ahead of you.
Oh,
They're gonna invite you all, I believe, to a meeting introduction. So they'll have that date set aside, and I'm sure you'll get a letter, maybe the clerk will get a letter, and she'll share it with you all. You have a mosquito letter. CLGW's letter about mosquito spraying. But CLGW, board, they have unanimously passed, and have sent a letter to the city regarding the mosquito spraying. They are willing to collect the money, the full amount of money, to do it. If the council would pass an ordinance stating that it'd be a user fee, that the city will start collecting money for mosquito control.
Motion.
That's what that's.
Wait a minute.
Slow down.
Slow down.
You got it, okay.
Okay, it's probably not a user fee, it's probably a tax. Now, I will, by the next meeting, I will have an ordinance. Somebody tell me how much. I mean, I don't know how much we're talking about, who it's gonna be.
Didn't it come out to some number between $1 and $2?
I don't
Yes, sir.
know.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
wait,
Is
I
that
mean,
per
I
month?
can't put
Is
that.
that per month?
It's
$1.82 that not that $1. I mean,
well,
$1.80 per
per meter.
per meter, I mean,
Oh, from the-
okay. I'll have an ordinance now, the ordinance will, and an explanation. The ordinance will either adopt it as a user fee, or we'll put it on the ballot, in April as a tax. When I look at the, there's 5 criteria that the Supreme Court has, set out to determine whether something is a tax or a user fee, and this, I'll apply all those, and my gut feeling is that this will come out to be a tax, not a user fee, because it's not being used by each person on the, or that gets it, it applies to everybody. There's all kinds of criteria, but I'll have a report, and I will get a full report to you with an explanation as to which ordinance I've come up with. But somebody needs to tell me how much.
I'll do that for you.
Okay. I'll have that next
Well,
meeting.
ballpark, I mean, if you wanna keep it round number, then $2 would.
Well,
I'll get that.
Uh,
Off the record, I think it's like $1.52.
oh, I knew it was something between $1 and $2.
That's what in my mind right now.
But it's gonna cost more than you think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, everything always does.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
but like, if there had to be a future increase, does this allow for the council to enact a future increase? We have to go through all this again, let's say, for some reason it costs $3 a meter instead of $2 a meter.
I will give you the great lawyer answer, it depends. If it's a user, then all we have to do is amend the ordinance.
Yeah,
Tax, then there has to be another vote.
yeah.
They want to set that fee.
I will say that I've had very positive responses from a lot of different people about, I will be glad to pay for mosquito control.
That's what I'm saying, the people I've talked to, they'd be glad to pay $5 even. And I'm not just wondering maybe if we get a little bit excess and put that back for future, because the cost of this stuff's gonna go up over time.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be more expensive as years go on. I better just plan for that.
Good luck, Mr. McVeigh.
Yes, sir.
I can have that for the next meeting.
All right.
I know I'm good at opening my mouth and overloading, overloading myself.
There we go. All right, that's all that I have.
How about the accounts payable?
Accounts payable, wasn't on the agenda, but we need to go ahead and approve that. Along with CLGW, is there a motion?
Motion.
A motion for City of Kennett's accounts payable. Is there a second? Is there any questions?
Yes.
Please, what is it?
What was the $29,614 we paid the city Latin for water?
On
That,
page 4.
that was,
Insurance.
well, that was a settlement.
There's a- Yes.
Or the-
Settlement we all, the council approved,
Yeah,
it has to come to the city of Kennett, because that's where the settlement
okay.
is in our name, and
I thought that's probably what it was.
we could have checked to them.
And the city only got, keep 8,000.
Yeah, yeah, smaller percent, yep. Okay,
Anything else?
that's all I can find.
Anybody else got a question?
We ask them if we can have that money back whenever you meet with them.
Say again?
We ask them if we can have that money back whenever you meet with them.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, in your packet, you also have CLGW's abstract.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler, for bringing that to our attention. And I think that will conclude our meeting. Adjourned.
Good night, Lance.